Max Beckmann painted Carnival in 1943 when he was in his self-imposed exile in Amsterdam. He had been working and living in Germany when the Nazis came to power. Did not go well for Beckmann, so he ended up going to Amsterdam, and for years he tried to get a pass into the United States and was constantly denied. So during that time period, Beckmann painted at least 10 triptychs. And when I say a triptych, I am of course referring to the Gothic Christian idea of the three-part, the three pieces, which you see in a lot of church architecture, you see in a lot of altar pieces. Beckmann is calling upon that when he did his triptych series. This is the 6th one in the 10 that are extant. The last one wasn't finished. Ours was actually purchased in 1946 before we even had a museum building, which I think is really neat. A lot of the paintings in this collection, especially within the show, were purchased before we had walls. And if you think about where the museum is now, what is the museum? We are functioning more with the collection than we are with solid walls. The Figgy has been amazing in letting us move in, basically. They've been the best hosts ever. And it is a temporary situation, but the museum existed before we had a physical building, and we continue to exist now that we don't have one again. And I think that the Beckmann and other pieces that were purchased before the museum was built, they show the strength of the works of art, the actual works of art, and they bring us back to what is important here. Beckmann, after moving to Amsterdam, did the triptychs, like I mentioned, and there are a number of other references to Christianity and the religious art form. Another example, besides the triptych form itself, is that you have bright colors with these bold brush strokes outlining them. This is reminiscent of German expressionism, like a woodcut print, and it also recalls a stained glass window, if you think about it. The bright colors that you see here, you have a little bit of fauvism going on. Bold lines, bold colors. Our piece is one of the typical triptychs, in so much as most of the figures are life-size. That's a characteristic almost across the board. There are only a few figures in all of the triptychs that are not life-size. We do have one of them. He is this little fellow down here, the guard. The rest of the figures are more or less lifelike. It's always fun to give a tour to a group and have them standing in front of the painting and take a picture, because these figures, although elevated, actually look like they're in the background, like they're part of the tour. So in that way, you are able to interact with the painting in a way that, say, you couldn't with something more abstract, something less figural. There's a lot of symbolism that you can read into this painting. You can see reference to Amsterdam in a number of places. Also, there's reference to Karneval and the Hotel Eden, where he was staying at one point. And some people have even suggested that the mask that's being held in the left part of the triptych is Hitler's face. So there are a lot of connections on so many levels in this show. And what we've done, or what Kathy Edwards, the curator, has done in this exhibition, is start you in Europe and then cross you around as you walk around the gallery, cross you over the Atlantic into the United States. And we all encourage you to think about the connections within these paintings. I helped write about these paintings before I saw them. I was helping Kathy research for the label text, and I had seen them before in the old museum, but that was over a year ago. And when we actually brought them here, when they were brought here and unpacked and they were resting against the walls before we hung them, I realized that these were not the paintings I had written about. These were completely different. And it just proves that you cannot, an image of a painting cannot replace a painting.